In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the most underrated movie from every MCU phase. Throughout the years, there have been many MCU movies that have taken place over 5 different phases. So as phase number 6 is getting started, I thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and list what I think are the most underrated from every phase, because there are so many movies that fly under the radar. Now remember, this is just my opinion, so be sure to let me know yours down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. And now let's get to ranking. Alright, so I'm going to start with phase 1, and I think the most underrated movie is Captain America: The First Avenger. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't the biggest fan of this movie at first. I thought it was a little slow, kind of boring, but as time went on, this movie really grew on me, and I realized how great of an origin movie it actually was. It really helps you understand Steve Rogers, and it shows you why Steve was the one to take the serum, why he needed to be the one. And it made complete sense. He embodied everything you would want for Captain America before he took the serum. And he showed that throughout the movie, even after getting the serum. Like, for example, saving the soldiers that were captured. And with not a lot of field experience, he was able to lead a rescue mission. Then, of course, later on, he stopped Red Skull and put the Tesseract into the ice. First Avenger felt like I was watching a really cool history movie with some great action and some funny moments, and a good story on how Steve Rogers became Captain America. I love the charm that this movie had and how it played into some of the cheesiness of early Captain America, like the dancing and singing shows he had to do. Also love the suit he had to wear for those shows and the actual suit he wore when going on missions. I honestly think they went 2 for 2 when it came to the Captain America suits in this movie. And I think Chris Evans really showed he was born to play Steve Rogers. And then likewise for Sebastian Stan playing Bucky. I think their chemistry as best friends was incredible on the screen. Their back and forth banter was definitely my favorite part, but also looking out for each other like brothers. Then of course we all know how great of a character Bucky becomes throughout the years. But after really thinking about it, I couldn't think of a better way to tell a Steve Rogers Captain America origin story for the MCU. I think it was well done, and to this day I look back at it as a very underrated movie. Now moving on to phase 2, this movie probably has surprised me the most in the MCU. So I think the most underrated movie from this phase was Ant-Man. I had no idea what to expect going into this movie. I was also confused why Ant-Man wasn't going to be Hank Pym, but then it all made sense once the movie came out. I'm gonna admit I was not expecting a good of a movie that we got for Ant-Man. Like, I knew Paul Rudd would be pretty good. He would at least be entertaining and pretty funny, but I didn't know he'd be that good. I think he's done a really good job portraying Scott Lang, and since he's a funny actor, I'm glad they leaned into his humor. I think it worked well for the movie and the character. Like, that Thomas the Train scene during the final fight will always be hilarious and get a laugh out of me. I feel like this movie had a very refreshing tone, completely different from like the Avengers movies, even the Guardians movies. The heist movie structure with humor and some charm definitely made this movie fun and rewatchable. My favorite part though was definitely the creative action scenes. Like, for example, when he shrinks and then jumps onto the pistol and runs on it. That scene is insane in my opinion. I think the fight scenes were very creative and they were very fun to watch. I think this was a good movie about redemption and about family. Hope Van Dyne was set up for an important role for the future as we saw that play out. I like her little twist in the movie as well, that she was actually working with her dad. I feel like this movie definitely brought a little variety to the MCU, and I just think it was super underrated, especially because of its timing. Also, don't forget the quantum realm was introduced in this movie, which is a huge cornerstone for the MCU leading into Endgame. So even though this was kind of a smaller MCU project, I absolutely loved it, had a lot of fun with it, and think it's very underrated. Then moving on to phase 3, this one was so tough to decide between. I was looking through a few different movies. Like, I thought about Homecoming, but then I thought to myself, I was like, that's not really underrated. Most people think it's a really good movie. It did well in the box office and with critic scoring. So I narrowed it down to Doctor Strange as the most underrated movie from this phase. For starters, the visuals were top notch in this film. The growth Stephen Strange has in this movie is fun to watch. The film's trippy, reality-bending visuals are some of the most creative in the MCU. I'd probably argue they are the most creative in the MCU. I love seeing like the mirror dimension, the astral projection, the kaleidoscope, like city folding scenes. Those were incredible to watch. And really before Doctor Strange, the majority of the MCU was like science, tech, aliens. This really helped bring in magic into the MCU and helped make it a focus. I think this was a really good origin story for Doctor Strange. Going from the arrogant surgeon to the kind of humbled sorcerer. It's still Stephen Strange, he's not super humble. But I think it's a compelling arc. I think his character development throughout the movie feels earned, and I think they did a great job with that. The villains were awesome in this movie. I love the final battle, just really all the battles that happened throughout this movie. I think the performance and the casting was just spot on. Benedict Cumberbatch is 100% Stephen Strange. Strange. I think he plays him perfectly. The movie has underrated action, great character development, introduces magic, and really good villains, which is why I think it's very underrated. Then moving on to phase 4, went between a couple movies for this one as well. I thought about putting Eternals here, but I decided to go with Shang-Chi as the most underrated movie. I feel like it's a little more well-liked than Eternals. And I really didn't know how this movie was going to go, but I just trusted the MCU and they delivered with this one. Also, side note, super happy Daniel is directing Spider-Man Brand New Day because Shang-Chi gave us some of the best action in all of the MCU. The fresh martial arts action in the MCU was amazing. It was choreographed so well. The bus fight, the scaffolding sequence, the hand-to-hand combat, the fight scene at the end between Wenwu and Shang-Chi with the 10 rings was amazing. That was easily one of the coolest, if not the coolest fight in the MCU. I also really like that Shang-Chi is very relatable. He's basically just a guy pulled back into family conflict during this movie. I think he has good humor, good humility, and a heart which makes him easy to root for. Then we got to get to the villain. His dad, Wenwu the Mandarin, isn't a one-dimensional bad guy at all. He's a grieving husband, powerful leader, father whose love is twisted by loss, and I just love his and his children's dynamics. It honestly added a lot of emotional depth to this movie. Then of course this movie brought more cultural representation, which is always great. It was the MCU's first Asian-led superhero film, which is awesome. The visuals, the world building, so much of it was so great throughout the movie. Love seeing the 10 rings in action. I cannot wait to see more of them in the future. And I feel like this was a good movie to release after Endgame. Still don't know why we never got a Shang-Chi 2 like 2 or 3 years later. That part kind of blows my mind a little bit, not gonna lie. But overall, I think this movie was great, had a heartfelt storytelling, cultural significance, and some of the MCU's best actions, which is why I think it's the most underrated of phase 4. Then last but not least, we got phase 5, and honestly, I went with the Thunderbolts. You might not think of it as underrated, but it didn't do as well as I thought it should have in the box office. And I think this movie was just incredible. A team of misfits instead of icons came together as this team. I mean, they're assassins, anti-heroes, government tools. Their dynamic is like messy and unpredictable, but it's so much fun. And I really like every character that's in this movie, from Yelena, Bucky, Red Guardian, Ghost, US Agent. They all come with baggage, regrets, but they're all just great characters that have great arcs in this movie. Everybody gets their time to shine, besides Taskmaster, sorry about that. Yelena was an incredible lead throughout this movie, and I really like Bucky's role in this movie as well. Then of course you can't forget about Sentry, easily one of the best characters in this movie. I really liked his dynamic with Yelena, and then his reveal as Sentry was so cool. His powers were insane, and I like that this movie just felt grounded. Like, we've had so much multiverse stuff and just like cosmic stakes. It felt nice having a more like grounded street level story that was very like emotional and felt personal, because at the end of the day, a lot of this movie has to do with mental health and just how we're doing as people in society. And I think that was beautiful. And again, I just think it's underrated because of like expectations and the fact that I think it should have just killed in the box office. I mean, it still did well, but the quality of that movie definitely should have made more. So in short, I think Thunderbolts is the most underrated of phase 5. A couple movies I considered was Brave New World and The Marvels for this one though. But there you have it. Those are the movies that I think are the most underrated from every MCU phase. As I said before, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to join my Discord server, that link is going to be in the description. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.